So today we are making salt bars. I've got my pre-measured oils here, my melted oils. This soap is really basic. It's just coconut oil with a 20% super fat. And I've got the appropriate amount of fine sea salt here, which I'll be adding to the soap for the salt bar effect. And then the fragrance oil we're using is strawberry milk from Eroma. And I've only used this fragrance oil once before in cold process soap, but it was pretty popular and the fragrance did actually stick around quite well. So I thought I would give it a try again since it's going to be kind of a white sort of pinky soap today. And the salt that I'll be using for decoration, this will be sprinkled onto the bottom of the mold and will then become the top of the soap. This is a medium grain Himalayan pink rock salt. And then honestly, I'm not sure how this is going to work out. So I'm just going to do it on a couple of soaps just in case I don't like the effect. But these are fairly large rose petals and normally you'd have them chopped up fairly finely, but I thought I would try them just whole as they are and decorate them on one side and have the salt on the other side and see how that goes. And this is the mold that I'll be using today. I can't remember if it's from Aussie Soap Supplies or Brambleberry, but it's just a standard silicone square mold. I think it holds about 140 grams per bar, so they'll be fairly hefty, nice to grab onto in the shower for a salt bar. And here I've got my pre-mixed lye solution. It's now cooled to the appropriate temperature. And I'm using a fairly big water discount on this one as well. I'm going to add in my fragrance oil and my salt. And this is my pre-measured fragrance oil here. Only a very small batch today. Just going to hand stir that through. Yummy. Now I'm just going to transfer my butter into a slightly bigger container because I do want to have a pour spout. And once I add in the salt, it's going to just be a bit too much for this container. So I'm going to carefully pour this into my new vessel. And the reason I didn't do this sooner was because the mouth on this container is so wide, it can be a little bit difficult to keep your stick blender properly immersed so you don't end up with splashes. Adding in my salt. Makes good sound. I'm just going to use my stick blender a little bit just to get it to a thicker trace, being very, very careful with splashes. Getting there, but I don't want to pour it just yet. I want it a bit thicker. Okay. So now that I'm just about there with the batter, I'm going to move this off to the side and sprinkle my pink Himalayan rock salt into the bottom of the mold and also put in some of the rose petals just to see how that looks. And I think one of the reasons I got this particular mold was it was one of those, you know, bargain ones because there was a slight irregularity in it. And it's got this annoying little lump, if you can see it there on one side, and it ruins just one bar. So I'm going to make sure I don't use that one. It's probably why these ones have always seen more use. Alright, so let's get sprinkling. Because this is such a small batch and these cavities are actually pretty large, I'm just going to do 2 with the salt only and then 2 with the rose petal and the salt. And I think that's actually going to take up all of my batter pretty much. Oopsies. Alright, so what about if we put it off to one side, just in a little corner like this, and we do the same with the other cavity. Press, press, press. There we go. Hopefully that's not too much, but I always kind of think more is better with a lot of things. Okay, and then let's get some rose petals in there. What if we just put a small amount at the other corner? So they're like asymmetrical. And hopefully that won't move around too much when I pour. If it does, that's just que sera, sera, isn't it? See how that goes. Maybe there's a reason I haven't seen this particular design before, because it doesn't work. Alright, let's check on that batter. Okay, this is feeling a bit better now. So I think I will actually begin to pour just into my first ones. And let's see how we go. Just trying not to displace the rock salt too much. Ugh, there's a reason I don't use these containers very often, because the pour on them is not great. Okay. Badly pouring spouts are just endlessly frustrating, aren't they? Here we go. Actually, you know what? I've totally underestimated this batter. I think I'm going to be just fine. Okay. Let's give these a bit of a smooth out. Bounce, 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 bounce. Bounce, 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 bounce. Bounce. Lovely. Well, that was almost Rudolph. The tune for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer coming through. Okay, that's good. What do you think we should do for the other ones? Should we do more of the plain or more of the rose? Let's do one of each. See how that looks. Okay. Let's pour our last two. These will be a little bit low, I think. Oh, maybe it won't do two. Bummer. Well, what do you know? It's perfect. Almost. Bounce, 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 bounce. Oh, I'm not using my favourite spatula, and I can really tell. Anyone else need a little bit more? Maybe you? Maybe you? There we go. Huzzah! I'm hoping I'll be able to unmold them tomorrow morning, because they are a salt bar, and also I've got a pretty steep water discount. So I'm thinking, yes, sooner rather than later with these guys. So I'll be back with you tomorrow to unmold these. Until then, bye. And we're back the following day to unmold these soaps. They set up so quickly. I could have actually unmolded these within about 4 or 5 hours. It was crazy how fast they set up. It was just that I had things to do in the afternoon, and I'd already, you know, broken down the camera, so I couldn't actually do it then, so I had to wait. But thank goodness they're actually in their own individual molds, because there would have been no way that I could have cut them at this point. So let's have a look. You can see the fragrance oil has made them just a teeny bit on the sort of yellow lemonish hue, which is interesting, because you wouldn't think a strawberry scent would do that so much. You'd think it'd be more of a pinky hue, but that's what's happened. Let's take a look. Whoa! I think I actually really like it with the yellow colour. Look at that. It almost looks like a massage bar. Beautiful. All right, let's check out the other ones. So this was the experiment with the rose petals and the salt. I love the placement, but I think rose petals were probably just maybe a little bit of a mistake. Yeah, they look kind of scary, don't they, when they're a bit brown like that. So we'll put that off to the side. Normally when I work with rose petals, I just use them sprinkled on top. So I think saponifying them directly in the bar is probably not the best thing for their delicate nature. Whoops. Okay. mean, they do look lovely though. I'm going to redo this particular design because I think it's very, very nice, but probably just not with something as, you know, heat and chemical reaction sensitive as rose petals. I'm like so impressed with how rock hard they are. They just feel amazing. They're just so smooth and beautiful. I can't wait till these are cured. Woohoo! And I would say the scent is kind of on the medium side. It's not hugely strong. But I did notice when I used this particular fragrance previously that it did hold up all the way through the cure. So it ends up being quite a nice sort of solid sticky fragrance in the end. But it's not hugely strong right now. Here's a close-up of the final product without the ring light on. So it's a bit more of an indication of its colour. And I'd say it's more of a buttery yellow, a really sort of pale lemon chiffon colour.